Okay, so I'll read from Lettuce Nights. This is an excerpt from a novel that Vanessa Barbara is writing, and it's about this curmudgeonly older man whose wife passes away, and she'd always been the more social one, and so in her absence he starts to create a new relationship with his neighborhood. And the neighborhood portrait is based on Vanessa's actual neighborhood on the outskirts of São Paulo. Okay. When Ada died, the wash hadn't dried yet. The trousers, elastic waistbands, were still damp, socks swollen, t-shirts hanging the wrong way out. A rag was left soaking in the bucket. Rinsed recycling bins in the sink, the bed unmade, open biscuit packets lying on the couch. Ada had gone away without watering the plants. The household things were holding their breath and waiting. Since then, the house without Ada has been nothing but empty drawers. Otto and Ada were married in 1958, just as the town was transitioning between mayors. They bought a yellow house and decided not to have children, no dogs or cats, not even a pet turtle. They spent almost 50 years together, cooking, assembling massive puzzles of European castles, and playing ping pong on the weekends, until arthritis set in and made the game impossible. In the end, it was nearly impossible to tell the difference between their tone of voice, their laugh, their way of walking. Ada was thin with short hair and liked cauliflower. Otto was thin with short hair and liked cauliflower. They wandered up and down the hallways and took out the rubbish together. Ada dealt with the various household details and did most of the chores, while Otto followed her around, telling anticlimactic stories. They were such good friends that Ada's death left a silence in the hallways of the yellow house. As time went on, Otto learned what to do with dead light bulbs, but still didn't have the heart to change out of his pajamas. And so he stayed that way, wrapped in a plaid blanket even on hot days, missing Ada and taking care of household tasks, couch stains, dirty dishes. He was a quiet widower, reserved and hard-working. He saw his wife in these chores, and it made him feel like never leaving the house. He had groceries delivered from the corner store and medicine from the pharmacy, led a peaceful existence, and didn't bother anyone. The delivery boys cultivated this silence respectfully. They'd knock on the door as if they were entering a monastery, have Otto sign receipts, and ask how he was doing for the sake of asking. They liked to turn their heads upward and remark, "Looks like it's going to rain later. Better take the clothes off the line. It might cool down a bit and you'll have to change out of those pajamas. The weather's crazy. How's your sciatica?" Otto would nod, half distracted, thinking about how the delivery boys acted differently when Ada was still around. Ada used to answer the door and would immediately have the boy from the pharmacy sitting down. Nico would open his backpack to show her something, and the two of them would go on chattering about very important subjects, so that sometimes Nico would end up forgetting to deliver their ointments, aspirin, and blood pressure medication. Ada kept all the neighborhood's secrets. She knew every single neighbor's life story and recounted them to Otto at dinner in a near whisper. Nico made next to nothing at the pharmacy. What he really wanted was to be a professional swimmer. He lived with his mother and spent all his free time at the gym. He swam very badly, but had made up his mind to cross the Strait of Dover, even if it meant he had to go part-time at the pharmacy. Whenever he laughed, he resembled a monkey, his mouth gaping wide open, but without making a sound. Then one day, he dived into the pool, and when he came up for air, he was laughing like that. Everyone laughed, Ada recounted. He went down again, came up, and was still laughing. Everyone was laughing. But then he went under and didn't come back up again. He hadn't been laughing. He'd been drowning, and nearly died. The moral of the story? If you laugh with the same face as when you drown, better change your ways. Ada was central to the neighborhood. She was the one who organized the block parties, who solved everyone's problems, and found work for those who needed it. Even those who didn't want help ended up with some odd job as a bagger at the market, caught off guard like someone who answers the door to a visitor on a Sunday morning. After Ada's death, the neighborhood went into mourning for 3 days, during which time not even Teresa's dogs barked. The postman stopped delivering the mail strictly out of a sense of propriety, since he usually made his rounds belting out songs like, "Boy, was that guy ugly," and no one turned the radio up all the way. No one shouted into their cell phone. No one used their blender at 2 a.m. to whip up an avocado mousse. After this mourning period, the town returned to its usual commotion. Alone in that huge house, Otto became even sadder. Every time the knife sharpener passed by, it reminded him how Ada wasn't there anymore. No longer would she jump up from the couch or rush to lean out the window, waving vigorously and laughing through her nose. Now, whenever Teresa's dogs got out, he'd close his eyes and try to imagine Ada tripping over herself as she ran out into the street, shouting for everyone to save themselves while they could, absolutely terrified of the wild canines crashing into gates and leaving behind a trail of fleas, until Teresa caught up to them and restored order with a well-aimed swipe of a plastic bottle. Otto had only really interacted with his neighbors through Ada, and now was left stranded in that sea of collective insanity. And there.